وہ وہاں نہیں پر وہاں سے نکالے ہوئے تو ہیں، کعبے سے ان بتوں کو بھی نسبت ہے دور کی. Welcome to another episode of Everyday Ghalib. We've been taking Ghalib's shares, his verses, and thinking with him. Thinking with Ghalib is the name of the book that my co-author Anjum Altaf from Lahore and I had written last year, making some of Ghalib's poems, taking some of Ghalib's poems and making them relevant to our times, interpreting them in a way that perhaps resonates with people who may not necessarily be really into the poetry per se, but might want to reflect, to use this poetry to reflect on social and even political themes. So here's one verse by Ghalib, which is again very, very relevant to our times. गो वहाँ नहीं पर वहाँ से निकाले हुए तो हैं, गो वहाँ नहीं पर वहाँ से निकाले हुए तो हैं, काबे से इन बुतों को भी निस्बत है दूर की, काबे से इन बुतों को भी निस्बत है दूर की. Translated, though they may not be there, though वो वहाँ नहीं पर वहाँ से निकाले हुए तो हैं, but they are still something that has been removed from there. Now he's setting up a kind of suspense in the first line. We don't know where he's going with it. Right? It's just a very general line. को वहाँ नहीं पर वहाँ से निकाले हुए तो हैं. किस चीज़ की बात कर रहा है? Second line gives you the punch. काबे से इन बुतों को निस्बत है दूर की. These idols, these representations of the divine, they are still related to the Kaabah in some distant way. Now what is the image here and what is the context that is being set up? The story is again a very famous one in this tradition, that one of the first acts of the Prophet Muhammad was to remove idols from the Kaabah, the place of worship, because idols don't have a place in a religion which belongs in the one true unseen God. A monotheistic faith, idols don't belong there. So his act is to remove the idols from the Kaabah, right? And what Ghalib is doing is drawing on that and saying, okay, they may not be anymore in the Kaabah because they have been removed. वहाँ से निकाले हुए हैं. But वहाँ से निकाले हुए क्यों हैं? क्योंकि वहाँ पहले हुआ करते थे. They used to be there. So there is a distant relationship that remains. The fact that they used to be there is how the idol is related to the Kaabah. That's the sort of setup of his shair. Now we can take this in many different places again, as usual. And one obvious thing that comes to mind is Ghalib is asking us to think about the common origins of humanity, the common origins of different faiths, and saying that, well, you might have differences now. The Kaabah is very different from the idols, the temples and so forth. But there is a duur ki nisbat. There is a relationship that still binds all of you together because you come from the same place. And what that same place is, again, is up to us to decide, but one can think of a very literal same place. One can think of Africa and humans coming out of Africa and going out in different places, coming up with different religions, and then becoming very unlike each other, like the idols and the Kaabah. So there's a very literal some place that we all come from, but then there is also the place that we all come from, which is the place of the heart, and us as human beings relating to each other. So we are different from each other in various practices of worship and other things, but we also belong with each other. हमको एक दूसरे से निस्बत है, दूर की ही क्यों ना हो. That is what Ghalib is reminding us of. Incidentally, from the same ghazal that this shair comes from, we've already seen one other shair. If you remember, there was one we discussed, which went something like, क्या फर्ज है कि सबको मिले एक सा जवाब, आओ ना हम भी सैर करें कोहे तूर की. You'll see it in one of the earlier episodes. And here you see this rhyming scheme again. Those of you who are interested in the structure of the ghazal will notice, कोहे तूर की, nisbat है दूर की. This kind of rhyming is what characterizes the ghazal. Over the course of all of these, what we have repeatedly tried to do is take Ghalib's words and learn what lessons we can from them. And today I hope again you saw how much he packs into these two lines and makes us think. Thank you.